If you are a trainee and you feel like your training team isn't like this, it could be you.
Ready.
Welcome to Opposing Bases Air Traffic Talk, an aviation podcast by two air traffic controllers and rated pilots who love to talk about flying, controlling, and everything in between. The show is for entertainment purposes only and should not be used as a substitute for your instructor, your supervisor, the FAA, the NTSB, or your CAT. The show will give you a better understanding of how things work in the National Airspace System and maybe even make you laugh along the way. Please welcome retired Army pilot Alpha Golf and first officer at Penguin Airlines, Romeo Hotel.
It's Saturday, July 25th, 2026, episode 447. On today's show, we'll discuss an ATC Checkride, reinforce our opinion that TRACON controllers are superheroes, and hear more of your aviation feedback. What's up, AJ?
Hello, everyone.
Happy Saturday.
Yes, Saturday.
An odd Saturday night recording.
It is odd.
It's going to be fun.
It's going to be great.
This is when our schedules met up this week. This is how it is.
This is it.
Tell us about your week.
Two mids.
Mids.
Of trying to recall. Oh, the first mid. Very busy. Not a lot of extra planes, but every plane needed extra work.
Weather.
Lots of weather. A lot of vectoring. Yeah. The second mid wasn't too bad.
Tell us how vectoring on the Game Boy scope with big data blocks is different than on the big screen downstairs.
How can I relate that to people that don't?
Let me ask you this.
Work
If somebody was
scope.
watching downstairs, they were just listening and watching, what would their opinion be of your work?
It would be skewed. Sometimes I feel bad because you just can't be as good. I don't know how else to do it. It's harder to be good at vectoring, turns to final, aircraft separation. You're used to using this giant scope. And now it's not half the size. It's less than half the size.
It's all the airspace instead of just one, maybe 2/3 of it presented at you at a time.
Yeah. So when I screw it up, I tell them, sorry. Well, I'm looking at this tiny little scope.
It would look conservative. Someone downstairs were watching, they'd say,
Oh yeah.
Are they scared?
Yeah, why are they working like a new person?
Yep, afraid to have anybody even inside of a 5-mile bubble, almost like a center bubble, you know?
Yeah.
I am starting week 4 of training out here in Denver, trying to keep everybody updated on the bonus audio. I put one out last week with a little update. I should get another one of those out soon with an update on last week's kind of mini check ride and how the things are going. And this week we jump into it this week. This is when things start breaking and we start flying a lot of single engine stuff.
Fun.
It is fun. Putting out fires, cargo fires, engine fires, APU fires, lots of fires.
So many fires.
Diverts. Hey, we did some diverting in an FTD. I kind of feel bad for the things that I've said in a hurried manner to pilots after this last week. Yes.
Things that you said to pilots as a controller.
Yeah, assume that it would be super easy to just snap in a new localizer frequency and go to another airport that was close because that's all you have to do is It's just
Right.
dial in a new localizer.
Dial it in and
Imagine
get a vector. Yeah.
somebody goes missed on 5 right, and they say, "Hey, we can't get into Triad. We're going to go over to Cigarette."
Okay.
That isn't going to take long, right?
No.
And you want them out of the problem as quickly as possible. So the first turn off of 5 right is probably a right turn to 140 and then a base turn to 33 ILS. I'm about to say goodbye to you. Are you ready?
Right.
No.
Oh, if it was on 2-3 left, think of that.
Oh, it's not that close. We went from one big sourdough Bravo airport to the one across the bay with miracle weather. It was foggy in one. It was clear in the other.
Amazing.
Super realistic. But it felt very hurried and rushed, and I now sympathize. Kind of like the random Airbus 220 you worked the other day. I thought they were going to Duke. Good thing they weren't, because that would have never worked out. They came to
come
Triad.
back anyway. Yeah. It's dispatch. The dispatcher must listen to the show. They're like, oh, no.
Anyway, we did some of that. We did some of this, and we're doing more of the failures this week, and I'm going to have a blast. I finished all my computer training today, so I'm ready to hit the ground running tomorrow.
Excellent. I'm doing the lawnmower. Just for people to keep track of my projects.
What's AG's project this week?
I was gifted a lawnmower for the cost of come pick it up.
Now that was a very high price. They said, "What do we do with this?" I don't know. Who can we give this to? It don't feel like a gift. Hey, you want a mower? Sure. They wait till you get there. You get it on the trailer. They're like, by the way, the engine doesn't work.
Yeah, it doesn't run. And which I knew going into it. I already knew that.
All right.
Okay. What I didn't know was the extensive rust on the deck. Yeah. So this engine rebuild project is turning into a welding metalworking project also.
And sandblasting? Can you get the rust, a lot of it off with that?
Yeah, but there are holes.
Time to weld some patches.
Has to be cut out and patched in. Yeah. And a new deck. I looked that up. I'm like, oh, well, what if I just bought just the deck?
No,
for this mower, it's like $3,000.
It's a commercial grade, like 50-something inch.
That's the problem. Yeah, right. So that's the problem with, a homeowner having to buy replacement parts for a commercial mower. They're expensive and heavy duty, but I'm in it to win it now. So
cool. Shall we begin?
yes.
All right. Since OB446, we have some new supporters on the Iceberg: Echo Hotel, Delta Lima, Juliet Hotel, Alpha Mike, Hotel Bravo, Charlie Lima, and Romeo Hotel. Welcome. Now it's your turn.
I forgot.
It's in bold. It says
It is,
all right,
but I
just
have to. You have to read it. You know. If Opposing Bases has become a part of your weekly aviation routine, the best way to support the show is by joining us on Supercast. Supporters keep the show ad-free and community-supported, and they also get more of what makes Opposing Bases work. Early access, the full back catalog, private YouTube live streams, like those who are in the chat room are enjoying right now. Some of them exposed to our faces for the first time. Very disappointed.
And immediately canceled their
They just
subscription.
canceled and left. Yep. You get the bonus audio and supporter-only email access, so your questions and feedback can become part of the show. So if you want to help keep this thing going, head on over to opposingbases.supercast.com and join the crew.
Thank you, everybody.
Yes, thank you.
Music's ending.
Hooray, hooray. Pull up.
Review and announcements.
Review. And
You did awesome with that. I'm going to give you a break. I'll do the review.
Go for it.
Helpful for Av Geeks, 5 stars from Bravo Papa Lima. The whole theme is here. First off, no penguins are harmed in the production of the show. That's an important opener.
Very important.
These two have literally taught me everything I know about IFR, and I'm not even a sim pilot, let alone a real pilot. They have such a great dynamic together that will suck you in. They might not realize it, but they're actually a great model of friendship that it's made me a more intentional with my own relationships. That might sound hyperbolic. Did I say that?
Yeah, you did. You crushed it.
But you'll see what I'm talking about soon enough. They ratchet it up with such great storytelling and teaching on the various topics folks write in about. They don't claim to know everything, and their humility adds to the user participation and enjoyment of feeling like we're learning with them. Once again, they model such great professional humility, curiosity, and community building. The only complaint I have is all I want to listen to is this. So I'm falling really far behind on all of my other podcasts. First world problem. The maddest of props to these guys and their families for enabling this. Well, thank you for taking the time to do that.
Thank you. Very nice.
And the kind words. They may not seem like big words to you, but they were for me. So
hyperbolic.
See, you also fell for that trap. Oh, now who's a better reader? When you were in like second and third grade, did everybody read a little paragraph in the book and you like counted and you had to figure out when you were up?
Right.
And you practiced, so you totally ignored what was happening. No one cares about what other people sound like.
No.
They're more worried about what paragraph they're going to get.
Yeah. And then you realize everyone else is doing this, so it doesn't matter what I sound like anyway.
You could skip to another book. No one would know.
Well, the person before you, the person right after you.
You'd have to, if it was somebody you didn't like, that'd be a great way to
that would be perfect. They're waiting for the cue of the last sentence, the last few words, and then it's their turn. You're totally on some other.
I never did that, I swear.
Right.
Awesome. Thank you. You get the announcements. How about that?
Fine. The announcements. Number 1, Supercaster Juliet Charlie is a commercially rated pilot.
Congrats.
Congrats. And left us a note. I passed my commercial check ride retest this week. Failure is never enjoyable, but it certainly is a great teacher. Now that I'm on the other side of this, I'm grateful for the experience and lessons I've learned. As always, thank you both for creating this special community that continues to help me and countless other pilots on to multi-engine training. Juliet Charlie.
Excellent.
Good
luck. Multi-engine training is fun. It's a nice break from all those maneuvers that I love so much.
Right.
You do different maneuvers.
Strengthen your right leg.
Exactly. And let's see what happens if we get this thing right up to the blue line. What's the blue line? Oh, you're going to find out.
That's when you stop controlling the airplane.
And it controls you. Right. Oh, VMC demos are so fun.
Number 2, Supercaster Kilo Sierra passed their multi-engine instructor check ride.
Congrats.
Multi. Congrats.
Mm-hmm. That's just my little note. You don't have to read that.
No. It's true. Please be careful.
Mm-hmm.
Light twin flight training is very demanding. And you have to be, just be careful.
Let me throw out a policy that we had at the school I was at, a Part 141 school that did a lot of multi-engine training back then. Mm-hmm. Back in the late 20th century, you had to get multi-time. Mm. And we had a hard floor when we shut an engine off on purpose. Because you have to go through that. You have to shut one off, feather it, then restart it, and see how long it takes to restart it. How does this airplane perform with a single engine? Spoiler alert, it doesn't do very well. 5,000 feet. That's where we had to be above that before we shut an engine off on purpose. That will pay dividends if you're having a hard time getting it restarted and the other one gives you problems. See what I'm saying?
Yeah, right.
Just be careful.
Yeah, I didn't do any of that in a piston plane.
You didn't
was a
shut one down in the
turbine.
King Air?
Yeah, we did, but it's a turbine.
True.
It's a PT6 on top of that,
Yeah,
so it's
no,
like
yeah.
the most reliable.
Where are we going to do our simulated shutdown? We'll actually do it at pattern altitude. Why waste all that time going up?
No, we climbed up a little bit. I mean, but yeah.
So when I was a instructor teaching multi-engine instructors how to be a multi-engine instructor, first we had to figure out which seat we were sitting in. It was super confusing. We actually had to think about it.
Right.
And then we do the shutdown, and then I said it out loud. This is what I said. He's the student. He's becoming a multi-engine instructor. We've got one totally stopped, feathered. It's not moving. Mm-hmm. And I brought the good one back to idle. I said, now this one failed. Go. And he's like, what are you doing? I said, that one got shut off on purpose, and it still works. This one doesn't work anymore. Go. He got it started pretty quick by memory. So
Okay.
he passed the test.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, moving on.
Moving on.
Timely feedback.
Timely feedback.
See, I set this up. I'll get the first one from Emperor Captain Bravo Mike, Hi RH. Just me. It's because I asked the question. Just following up on your question about how common it is for center controllers, center spelled CENTRE,
Centre.
Center controllers in Australia to move to a terminal environment. I did ask that out loud on a previous feedback because you went from a center to a terminal environment. In Australia, we generally don't take fresh trainees directly into a terminal control unit. A large majority of approach controllers will come from an en route center with around 5 years of experience. There's a smaller group who have come from towers, with the balance made up of military controllers and international experience controllers, including a growing portion of your fellow FAA controllers. One positive is because we only take experienced controllers, the washout rate in approach is essentially zero. You wouldn't be recommended for approach training if people didn't think you were capable. I added that word, amazing, right?
Yes.
In regards to pay, in Australia, controllers in all facilities are paid according to experience rather than facility complexity. Once achieving initial rating, controllers are paid level 1 and progress annually until reaching level 10. Each level is also indexed annually according to our agreement. The one exception is in Sydney, where controllers in the terminal control unit, a TRACON, right, and tower are paid what is effectively a level 11 salary, due in part to the higher cost of living and the busier and more complex traffic. Reasons why someone would move from a center to an approach are definitely varied, sometimes being geographic, but usually for the challenge. That's it. That's the line.
Right.
As center controlling definitely becomes monotonous and predictable. I'm keeping a straight face. Given the higher workload and approach and the intensity of the training, there isn't a huge queue of center or tower controllers lining up to retrain. So an approach unit becomes an environment of people who genuinely really want to do the job and do it well. Thanks, Bravo Mike.
I like this model.
I do like this.
Huh.
It is interesting. So if you're at place A, there is no real pay incentive to move to place B. So it is based on what you want to actually do versus how much money you want to make. I like that.
Yeah. Yeah. Because what happens here sometimes is people's desire for financial gain outweighs their ability.
Okay.
Because here, financial gain comes with an increased level of traffic and complexities. Sometimes, not always, but yeah. Very interesting.
Thank you for answering the call. Thank you for pointing out how awesome TRACON controllers are. It's more challenging. You hear that, center controllers?
Right.
I asked a center controller who's working at Metroplex now. They came from center. They went to Metroplex. This was years ago. I said, which one do you like better? And they said they like center better, and this was their words. This is, by all accounts, everybody all agree to this, a good controller. Not anything but great. He's a great controller. He said, I liked working at a center. I felt like more of a controller there. Here, it's the same thing every day. And I thought about it for a minute, and I'm thinking, okay, if most of your work is airline traffic coming and going, I could see that.
Yeah.
But that's not how it feels at a Tracon like Triad, where general aviation mixed in with every other thing that flies makes every day totally different. And you do have to actually think and control stuff. It's not, hey, just wait till that point, turn them. All right, now give them P-TEC. All right, do that 400 more times. I'll be back in an hour.
All right.
You know? I don't know. It was interesting feedback to hear from someone who's done it, had been doing it for a long time then, but I guess it makes sense. I don't think they would feel that way at Triad.
No. On the mid, last night, 2 nights ago, whenever that was, can't remember. The center handed me a perfect tie between a PC-12 and a 757.
How nice of them.
Not a perfect tie, but I would have had to do a ton of work to make the 7.5 number 1. Mm-hmm. So I made him number 2.
And that airplane will fly slower. It worked out fine.
And the Pilatus will fly faster. I mean, it will fly fast.
Period.
For a long time. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
They're both normal customers, but that pilot probably comes in nightly, whereas that, the purple box carrier might not come in every night. It might come in once every couple months. So you did the right thing.
Yeah.
Excellent. Thank you, Bravo Mike. You get number 2.
Number 2.
This is another Bravo Mike. I could have messed that up. I'll check my emails.
Okay. Possibly from Supercaster Bravo Mike. Maybe. If you recognize this as your email and you're not Bravo Mike, let us know.
I don't know where your page breaks up because I hit enter a couple times. This goes on a little bit further into the next page.
Yeah, I know. It was bait and switch, but it's fine.
Totally.
I'm onto your tricks. RHNAG, I was excited to see my feedback was selected for a show topic in OB446. Your discussion was excellent. I added your recommendations to my personal minimums and calendar. Minimum 1 flight per month, training with an instructor every 6 months, regular chair flying. Awesome. Lesson 1, flight, maneuvers, emergencies, approach, and landing practice. Lesson 2, ground, plan and review a long cross country like a Checkride. Flight, practice cross country and avionics, GPS procedures, practice an unplanned diversion to landing. In addition to the items you mentioned, I find attending monthly FAA safety team, the FAST meetings, helpful. The training is always informative, and the meetings are a great way to connect with other pilots. Completing a wings training phase in flight counts as a biannual flight review per the CFR. Their program information page states that pilots who have recently added a phase of wings to their profile are proven statistically to be safer pilots. Here are the links to the FAA safety team, wings program, and events pages for the show notes. So those will be in there. Thank you for taking the time to produce this excellent weekly podcast for all pilots and controllers. Oh, bravo, bravo. From the Mickey Mouse Charlie.
I know I screwed up.
Bravo, bravo.
It's bravo, bravo.
Okay. Excellent. I had the opportunity to do a presentation where pilots got credit, wings credit. So that was fun. I would gladly do more of those.
So the local FISTO arranged that, and then you were part of it? Cool.
Yeah.
Did you give them tours?
No. No, that wasn't. I don't think that was part of that one. But it was talking about local operations, especially with boundary airports and non-towered operations. So,
excellent. All right, moving on. Fancy chat music that you can't hear in the chat. You just hear me whispering. This week's show topic is brought to us by Emperor Captain Alpha Mike. Let's split this one up. I'll read the first
10 words, and then I'll take it from there.
All right. Hi, GNRH, CPC Alpha Mike from the Mile High TradeCon. You can tally another controller who listens to the podcast with a little feedback about a Checkride failure from the controller side of the scope. For reference, I hold an airplane single-engine land commercial certificate with an instrument rating and know how hard and stressful it is to take a Checkride. This failure is on the controller side of the scope. Had you read this before?
No.
I love this. This will all be a surprise for you then.
Yeah, this is great. We've never done this.
This is totally new.
It's totally new.
It was my second to last position to certify on at the Mile High TradeCon, and I felt ready and confident for it. I don't think we've talked about this. The blue notes are mine. I'll explain to people, because I think it's been a while since we addressed the multiple positions and the progressing and how you build up to finally getting fully CPC rated, fully qualified. Why don't you take that away?
Yeah, so at Triad, you've got, well, technically 3 scopes. You kind of do the last 2 at the same time.
Sure.
But the idea is that your progression through the facility starts from easy and it gets harder as you go. So that the last position you're doing is the hardest position, theoretically. So that if just because you certified on another scope, this doesn't guarantee that you are going to finish your last scope. Now, that's not super common, not at Triad anyway.
Mm-hmm.
But it has happened where a trainee certified on South and then didn't make it on West and Final.
Mm-hmm.
But that is unusual.
I think it might be more common at Triad and, 7s and 8s and below, maybe, that have a combo up and down where they get through. If they get through the tower, that doesn't guarantee they're going to get through radar. That's fair, right?
Yeah, that's totally fair. That's much more common.
Yeah, so their first radar position, if you want to say it's the easiest one, it's more, I think we've said it's more procedures driven than moving airplanes around driven.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a capture point for, before we invest any more time with you, you need to do this position. It seems administratively frustrating, but if you can do that, now you have the tools to move airplanes. You can work radar. And that's what you do on Final and West. You actually have to move airplanes around instead of trying to comply with SOP and LOAs. I think that's heavy on the South and not so much on the West and Final positions.
Yeah.
But I think the bigger point that I wanted to make in this portion, had us pause here, is that your first, second, third position is not a guarantee that you're going to certify on your 4th position.
Right.
One success does not guarantee another. So, all right. As soon as I plugged in, this is their second to last position. So and this is a big TradeCon. I'm guessing I'm going to just go out on a limb and say at least 5 or 6 positions. So you're 2/3 of the way through the facility.
Yeah.
As soon as I plugged in on my second to last position Checkride and got the brief, however, things started to change. We were in an IFR feed with thunderstorms that pilots were dodging on their way into the airport. One gate was in the hole due to the compacted demand and only having 2 runways to land on due to runway construction. The operation got so complex so quickly after sitting down that the problem got away from me and I was tubing hard. Let's talk about that. The other person couldn't wait to get up. I just gave you the brief. I pointed to everybody. I plugged in. You plug in with a supervisor. The room goes into this super awkward mode because everybody knows, all right, if there's any time where we don't mess with somebody, we feed them the best we can or give them the biggest chance for success, it's now.
Yeah.
Like, be on your P's and Q's for everybody else. Everybody knows this is happening. You're on the stage. It's like karaoke. It's your turn to sing.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
How can you go down the tube so quickly? Go.
Man, it doesn't take much. Just a couple of weird things that consume your attention. When your attention is demanded in so many other places, it is demanding that you move your attention quickly between a lot of different fires. Okay. Well, when two of those fires become so big and raging that they are consuming all of your, it sometimes can even take one thing that just takes all of your attention because that's what it requires to get fixed. Those other things that needed attention start to get behind and behind and behind. Now you're like 4 or 5 transmissions behind. And when it's volume like that, catching up could really be tough.
Volume, and there's a little bit of chaos. It's not the normal, bases and downwinds because there's weather. You're cut in half. You got 2 runways. This might not have been the best chance for you to do a check ride. That probably wouldn't happen. At Triad, they would be like, no, we're not doing this right now. But you're eventually going to have to do it on your own.
Yeah, the expectation, just so everybody is clear, for someone to get certified at Triad is to work normal traffic under general supervision.
That wording is not just at Triad. That's everywhere.
That's everywhere. So that isn't normal. That isn't normal traffic. So the idea that as a trainee that you're just going to jump in, especially on a check ride, everybody knows that your nerves, are on edge, and work this super demanding session that would have veteran controllers, down the tubes. It's kind of unrealistic. I know sometimes supervisors in that situation may defer and say, hey, let's pick a better time, maybe, because this doesn't really meet that sort of normal traffic requirement. Or we can turn this into a skill check. We could just do it as a skill check instead of a certification ride. Right. So.
All right. No matter what I did, nothing was working to try and recover the session. After the session, the soup and one of my trainers pulled me into the soup's office for a quick training team meeting and said that I had failed the check ride. I was devastated, and my confidence in working airplanes was shattered. Already at 90% of my hours, so many different bad outcomes were running through my head as worst-case scenarios. This was during the government shutdown last year, so nerves were already on edge. All right, what does 90% mean and hours? What is he talking about here?
So you're allotted a certain amount of hours for a position, and as you train, they're keeping track of that. And when you get to 100, something has to happen. You have to pass a certification skill check or go to a training review board.
Or something get more time. Something has to happen.
Right.
Yeah.
Which is usually what will happen from a TRB.
What a perfect segue. The worst fear was that my training was going to be terminated and I was heading into a TRB. I will try to explain that broadly, and then you can pick up the rest of this. How about that?
All right.
Training review board is sort of forced when you run out of hours on a position, generically, and say you weren't given an extension, which was easier years ago. It's a little bit harder now. There's some boxes you have to check before you get that extension. And a training review board consists of someone on the supervisor side. There's someone from the union, and they interview everybody that's been on your team. The trainee will get interviewed. And basically they're trying to determine, hey, was everything done to give this applicant, candidate, trainee all the resources and the room for success? Like, what did we miss here? It's really a chance for the facility to kind of audit the training. And oftentimes, a lot of the times, they find some hole in it and they realize that, no, here's where the wheels went off the road and we should have fixed it then, for example. Instead, we just kept running up time here. We didn't take any time to do skill assessment or what do they call the extra training you can get? I can't remember.
Yeah, SDT. I forget what it stands for.
Like something you could do in a simulator or maybe some classroom that kind of hone in on one of the issues you're having. For example, you're on South and you just forget half of your LOAs with the surrounding facilities. That won't play well. You're going to need to go into the classroom and show us that you actually remember the things you were tested on, because when you plug in, you're saying the wrong things, that type of thing. Right. After the TRB, a recommendation is made by that panel of whether or not you're going to get an extension, and if so, how is it justified, or your training could be terminated. You could no longer be a trainee, at which time you go into another phase where they determine if you're going to go somewhere else, but basically be terminated from that facility. It is a terrible time. It's super stressful. Everybody that goes through one will tell you that's the worst thing that could ever happen to you. It's not fun.
No.
It's not fun. And I want to contrast a little bit with flight training. At least in my experience, the applicants for higher than private, maybe instrument commercial that didn't make it, essentially run out of money. They're paying for those lessons. And the school will gladly take all of your money.
Right.
They'll take all of it. You'll keep failing lessons, but they'll take all your money. It's not a shot on the schools, but they're business, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you may never get to that rating. You may never pass the stage check or the Checkride, and that was all essentially wasted money. And the ATC side, you're an employee. You're not paying the government. You're getting paid. And eventually there's a determination that has to be made. Should we keep giving this person more time or stop it right here? Is that a fair assessment?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
So anyway, that was his biggest fear. Your turn.
Okay. Thankfully, my soup and trainers saw that this was just a bad day and reassured me that we would be going to 100% and adding the 20% extra as needed. Shout out to my amazing training team, especially Charlie, who listens to the podcast and is now retired, and my pilot friends at Penguin and other major airlines who built me back up again. Awesome. That's great to have a community and to have your training team on board. I have definitely seen where that is not the case. The trainee, for whatever reason, has completely alienated the people on their training team. Trust is broken down, and that sort of response doesn't happen.
No. I'll reverse that. If your training team is confident in you, you're going to get through. But without them, if you're not getting along with your training team and you're always in an argumentative, defensive position, it's not going to play well when you get into a jam.
Yeah, don't do that.
It's not going to play well.
And don't do that. And in a small facility, changing teams or booting someone off of your team, this happens. It's small. Everyone knows.
Yeah, unless you change days off, you're going to be exposed to the same people.
Right.
It's just a different time of day.
Yep.
You know? All right.
All right. So 2 weeks later, I retook the Checkride and passed with flying colors.
Congrats.
Awesome. And 4 months later, I passed the Checkride on my last scopes and put the Checkride failure behind me.
Excellent.
Very good. Training here was the most intense and rewarding experience with so many ups and downs, emotional, demanding, and difficult days that it has made me a better controller. That part of it, that part of training is the purpose that it serves, and it isn't intentionally making it like that. That's just how it is. But what it's doing is, are you going to have what it takes to stick it out when you're at an hour and 50 minutes, you're coming up on 2 hours, it's super busy, you're just getting beat down, and then you have overtime, and then you're back to work, and then you just work 12 days in a row. So training feels like that. It probably feels worse, honestly.
It's terrible.
It's just exhausting.
It's terrible.
And that's sort of determining, is this something that you're going to be able to do when you're certified and kind of go through the grind. Sometimes it's going to be a grind. So, yeah. Every day I'm learning some more tips and tricks while working, and from the veteran controllers who have seen almost everything that can happen. That is such a great attitude to just never stop learning. There's something every day. It's got to be almost every day. I'm like, wow, I didn't know that. So,
and that's a unique attitude. That's not the case with a lot of trainees at the beginning. They think, finally, I'm on my own. It usually takes about 2 sessions before they have some operational error.
Yeah, and scare themselves.
Yeah, totally freak themselves out. And then they spend about 6 to 8 months in ultra conservative mode or avoiding the place where they have the most difficulty, usually radar. Because they scared themselves.
Yep.
Sorry, I interrupted you.
No, it's fine. Yeah. Don't stop learning. Don't stop asking questions. Ask those guys that have been doing it. Man, I don't think he listens, but the guy that came from Metroplex, it just got done. He's certified in the Tracon now.
Excellent.
When I'm in there working with him, I think I learned something new all the time. It's just a wealth of information. It's been really good. Anyway, thank you both for this amazing podcast and community to build aviation and make it better. AG and RH, if you find yourselves in the Mile High City and are interested in a Tracon tour, let me know, and I can show you why we change RH's runway 3 times in 5 minutes.
That's only a minor exaggeration. They're known for that. I would like to meet the TMU person responsible for that. I'm sure it's not the controllers at the scope that are doing it. I feel like it's somebody from another room that's not plugged in with controllers that says, hey, we need a little balance over here. And there's a bunch of departures waiting over there. So put all those guys that thought they were getting the right runway, move them over to the left. You have 4 seconds to work that out. They're going to love it. The pilots will love it. All right. I only put a few notes in here. We've talked about some of them already. I just wanted to hit on something. We're going to end on a positive note. This is a great story. I think there's a lot of good things to pull out of this. I just want to remind everybody, this is my opinion. I think training in radar specifically was the worst time of my life. And it's terrible.
It is really, really hard. I don't want to sugarcoat it.
Every time you key up and you hear a remark from your trainer, even if it was totally fine, if they say, why'd you do that? That just beats you down after a while. What'd you do that for? Huh? Or they go, let's see how this is going to work out.
Yeah. Wouldn't have done that.
Yeah. My first transmission in radar. Now, they were messing with me, which I was easy to mess with because I was wound up. I was stressed out.
Yeah.
Okay. My first transmission, the person that I relieved said, oh, that's not what I would have done. First transmission in radar. You feel everybody's watching you. All the people in the tower are watching your work. They could see you making this situation great or terrible. Right? And that you feel it. It's a lot of pressure, and I'm not complaining. I got over this. It took me many years to get over this. I was a trainee. I was not fully certified. It took 30 months from start to finish. But I only trained for 12 months of that.
Oh, right.
So there was an additional 18 months where I was staffing or somewhere else in the building. You're just simmering in this, like, I'm not certified yet. Am I going to make it here? You watch people work. You think, I know I could do this. And then you make mistakes. You get a box 1, which is separation error on a session, or you do something stupid, and all your confidence gets right back on the floor where it was the day before at the beginning. And nobody cares about building you up. My trainer didn't care. His goal was to beat me down. He did. I certified.
Yeah.
I don't know. Can you think of a difficult ATC check ride or some situation like this that you went through, or that you can kind of relate to this at all?
I may have told this story before, but at the end of my training, I was on my last scope. And my trainer, I would love to go back and talk to her about this and see if she remembers.
Not a chance.
But she was on my case all the time. Every transmission, every plane, no, do this, do that, do this. And I was at the point in training where I felt like, hey, I'm kind of getting the hang of this, And I don't like your plan anymore. Before, it's your plan, and that's the plan because I don't have one. And so
I have no idea what I'm doing.
we're going to do that. Well, after a while, we're talking, I'm 600 hours, into training. I kind of am getting the swing of it. And it was busy. I got final stuff going on. I got satellite approaches going on. And she's giving me orders. Do this, do this.
Chirping away.
And I finally said, because I'd had enough, I said, would you shut up and let me work this traffic? And she says, finally. That is what she was waiting for. Poking and pushing buttons, waiting for me to do that. Would you leave me alone and let me work this traffic? Mm-hmm. And it was right after that. They
recommended. Check him out.
Yep.
He's done with us.
Yep.
That's a great story. I don't remember you telling that before.
Okay.
But I have a terrible memory.
I was just mad. And it got the better of me. It finally broke me down. The stress of it all, the stress of working this problem, and then she just won't stop. And she was doing it on purpose, and that's what I would want to ask her. Do you remember just poking the bear constantly?
Now that I bet she would remember.
Yeah.
Because it's probably part of her training method.
Yeah.
I'm going to see when they come up with enough confidence to say, please, just look, if I'm about to do something bad, tell me, but just shush.
I've tried that. I have tried that with trainees recently. They don't respond well. And it's rarely it's never. No one has ever told me, shut up and let me work these airplanes. So
there's a particular controller. I don't know if they listen or not. I can't remember being their primary trainer or even on their team, but I did a lot of training with them. Juliet. And I still think he's in therapy for this because I said to him every maybe 2 or 3 minutes, what's your sequence? And it drove him bananas.
Yeah.
For those of you thinking it's obvious, there's 5 or 6 airplanes in your airspace. They're all going to this airport. How hard could it be? Oh, no. You could reverse it. You could go 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and the other person thinks it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Yeah.
So I would get on him, and it's early, like outside the 20-mile ring. That's what got him mad. What's your sequence? And that's when I'm making my sequence.
Right.
Because the rest is just me following. This is what I've committed to. I'm going to make this work.
That is the secret right there.
Yes. You decide the sequence early so that whatever, it looks like you did it on purpose because you kind of did.
Right.
But if someone said, no, don't do that. This guy's got an emergency. Make him number 1. You could do it. You have time to do it. All right. I'll make him number 1. So chirping at him. I'm not sure he actually told me to shut up. But I got the clue. He didn't want to tell me that early. He didn't know it, and that's fine. It takes the further you go out, the harder it is to say that. But he was in reactive mode. He'd wait till they were inside of 15 or 12 miles and closer to the obvious ones. The straight in usually wins. The down one follows the straight in. He would wait till it was much closer and maybe a little more obvious to him at the time. But I bet you today, and tell me I'm wrong, I know today he's probably one of the better at forecasting really early.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, I think so.
Because I
think
forced
you're right.
him to do that.
Yeah. So I had a setback on my last scope because I was having a hard time with final, with that sequencing. And they put me in the sims with, I can't remember his initials now because he changed them a couple times.
Oh, FM?
No, SB.
Okay.
And
Yeah.
who works at Cigarette.
Yep, I know who you're talking about. Yep. Great controller.
Really great.
Like, nothing got him.
Nothing. Never got flustered. Never. Nothing. Just unbelievable.
Go up and grab his wrist. You have a pulse.
Yeah. He told me that. He said the trick to final is just pick a sequence and then work to make that the sequence. That's it. Now, don't do anything crazy. Like, obviously, this guy is last. Don't make him first. But the ones in the middle, don't just pick it and then do it. You're trying to guess what the actual sequence, like the correct sequence. There is no correct sequence. So, super helpful.
You think any of your check rides in air traffic were harder than check rides in a plane or a helicopter?
That's a great question. I feel like this is going to be, some people are going to disagree with me, but I feel like, at least when we were going through clearance, the amount of knowledge, the amount of stuff you had to know that was totally foreign, all the LOAs, you have to know all of these LOAs, never having applied them ever. All these airports, destinations, all the rules. The amount of knowledge that I had to study for that was up there. I mean, we're talking, it was up there with my instructor pilot check ride. That was probably the hardest. That was a lot, man. That was a lot. That was super high pressure too.
You mentioned in the feedback, well, I think it's important we touch on it. The support of friends, other controllers, your training team, pilots that you know. Being a pilot sometimes is helpful in radar. Sometimes it's not. Kind of like
there are definitely things that you need to forget about.
My trainer would always say to me, "Get out of the airplane. Stop thinking like you're the pilot. You can't fly these planes.
Right.
Just put them where you want to put them. Let them figure out how to fly the plane. Stop getting in the cockpit in your brain and trying to figure out if what you're about to tell them is possible. They'll tell you if they can't do it. Just tell them what to do."
Right.
But a good network is important. And it sounds like this could have gone the other way. You know, the weather sounds like you got set up a little bit, but they wouldn't have plugged you in at that day. They thought, I know this trainee can do that. They wouldn't have set you up. They wouldn't have set you up for failure. They didn't want you to fail. Obviously, you got certified, you know, afterwards. You passed all your other positions. They gave you the extra time you needed. There was some high probability that I thought you were going to pass that. And if you could have done that, okay, easy. The rest is going to be easy. This is the hardest. Okay, it didn't work out that day, but point is you had their support. They trusted you, and just because you had a session that went sideways, they didn't stop trusting you and believing that you could do it.
If you are a trainee and you feel like your training team isn't like this, it could be you. I'm not saying it is, but it definitely could be. Controllers think they're the best controllers. Every controller, their plan is the plan. Their plan is the best plan because it's their plan, right? It isn't hard to get on their good side by going and asking questions. What would you have done? That one question right there can start to gel a team. Tell me what you would have done. How would you have worked that? What do you think? Do you think I should have done something different? Those kind of questions. One, it's humility. It's a little bit of humility. You're coming to them saying, I value your experience, and that will make them feel like they're doing something, like they're contributing, and it will help a ton without saying, hey, I want to make this team gel and I want to have you guys support me. And no. You just do it organically by being inquisitive and being curious and asking questions. And it isn't always on the scope. Sometimes that's not the time. I want to be able to evaluate your decisions afterwards, though. Hey, I turned that guy. Would you have done that? Or do you think maybe, the other guy, whatever this thing was, that could go a long way. Your attitude as the trainee really is the one that is the thing that drives the train. And Alpha Mike here is just displaying what that attitude looks like. That's the attitude of copy.
Like, you got certified, you're done, and you still say, this is my closer here. Every day I'm learning. That you said that.
Yeah.
A lot of trainees, when they get certified, they're not saying that. They're saying, I'm sick of these people. I'm never talking to them again.
Right.
I can't believe I tolerated them for this long. You're dead to me.
Right.
You're sitting down going, I'm learning every time I plug in. And maybe you're spending an extra few minutes watching somebody who you know has been around, seen everything. All right, I just handed them the scenario I got on my Checkride. Let's see how they fix this. You're going to learn something.
Mm-hmm.
Is it going to be perfect? No, but you're going to learn something from the way they handled it. That's a great attitude. Getting fully certified and still saying I'm learning means a lot. And that's why you certified there. Your attitude. Some people bust a Checkride and that may be it. Psst, they're done. If you don't come back from that and you don't have a good attitude, it could be the end.
Yeah. Absolutely. When you are watching someone else work as a trainee and there is something that they do that you don't understand, go to them later and ask, why did you do that? Because I see a lot of trainees sitting back there monitoring, and I think they're just watching it. They don't get the why. Mm-hmm. They don't get the correlation level, the understanding. Why did that happen? What knowledge, what information were you using to make that decision? And those are important questions to ask.
Congratulations. Thank you for sharing the story, giving us a chance to talk about that. I know we've never talked about that on the show, that type of event on the show. And for the controllers listening, this should be normalized. This is not everybody's perfect. You're going to run into some issues, and great attitude and a great training team that you trust and they trust you is going to go a long way. Any closing thoughts on that one?
No.
All right. Moving on. Play music. Music. Feedback time.
Feedback.
All right, I'll get the first one from Supercaster Julie Charlie, DRH and AG. Julie Charlie from underneath the Budweiser Bravo. In response to some special audio about chair flying, I wanted to share a personal story that I think stresses the importance of that. And because I think it's important, I'm using 12-point Times New Roman despite what Gmail would have me do.
Thank you. I was actually going to comment on the formatting of this feedback. It's very pleasing.
I am friends with someone who was fortunate enough to be invited to fly with the Thunderbirds, and he invited me to accompany him as a guest. Okay, for those of you who don't know what we're talking about, this is like the Super Bowl of...
Right.
Like, this is it. And you're writing it as if it's some normal thing that everybody in there... Maybe there's other people in the audience who've experienced this invite. Like, hey, Bob, what are you doing tomorrow? Well, nothing. What are you doing? Flying with the Thunderbirds? Wait, what? I, of course, was not allowed to fly, but I got to hang out during the briefings, walk out onto the ramp and all sorts of cool stuff. While he was out on his flight, the public affairs officer approached me and asked if I wanted to sit in on the squadron briefing. So, all right, so they usually, these demonstration teams, I don't know how they pick what person does this or what number. I don't know all those things, but someone goes out. Your friend got invited to fly. They take him out in a single ship. It's the videos you see on YouTube. They usually make them have some sort of loss of consciousness. But geez, it's hilarious. They get sick. They come back and yeah.
Right.
Meanwhile, you're back at the base here. The public affairs officer approached me and asked if I wanted to sit in on the squadron briefing. I was floored at the generosity and promised to stand quietly in the corner and not say a word. What I witnessed was 6 pilots literally at the top of their game, chair flying a routine. At that point, they had actually flown countless times, and they weren't casually talking through it. 6 people in 6 conference room chairs, pushed back far enough from the table so that they could manipulate invisible controls, which they did in real time. They made radio calls. They described actions they'd be taking. You name it. The entire routine from startup to shutdown. No self-aware smiles or laughs. The height of professionalism, complete with no-fault debriefing. Yes, they called each other out on things they missed while chair flying. What I took away from this is that everyone would benefit from chair flying, especially a 300-hour in the death zone private pilot. We haven't talked about that on this show. Maybe that's a good show topic for later. a certain amount of hours that a private pilot has where they're statistically more likely to do stupid things and bad things and end badly.
Mm-hmm.
So every time I go flying, they continue. I chair fly as much of my flight as I can. This goes into something you said the other day, AJ, on another show. I'll practice the call-ups I'll make at my home airport that I've made 100 times before. Quote, Charlie's ghost clearance, November 123, IFR to Bachelor at Charlie. I'll pause for a few seconds and then read it back. November 123 is cleared to the Bachelor at Charlie via departure 1, fixed transition, then is filed, maintain 2,500. Expect 7,000, 10 minutes after departure. Departure frequency 126.5. Squawk 1234. Then I quote-unquote call ground. Then I call the tower. Then I check in with departure. I stop there, of course, because the only thing that center will give us is an altimeter setting. But I say aloud the turns I think I'll make, the runways I think I'll use, the taxiways I'll think I'll use. If someone else is in the car, I apologize in advance, but I do it anyway.
Nice.
My thinking is that if I practice the knowns, then when something doesn't go according to plan, I'll have freed up iceberg ready to take on the cognitive load because I'm not clogging things up with stuff that should be down pat.
Amen.
But mostly, I think if the Thunderbirds aren't too good for chair flying, none of us are.
Good point.
Except maybe the Blue Angels. Fly naked. I had to get it in there, you know?
Yeah.
Warmest regards, Julie Charlie. So when I said the Super Bowl before, the two teams in this game for demo teams, maybe
It's these two, yeah.
it's these two. And they often fly together. Maybe a couple times a year they'll meet up in geographic areas and do a big flyby together. But the Blue Angels and the Thunderbirds are at the top of their game. So warmest regards, Juliet Charlie. I love this feedback. I love that they invited you to see this. And it validated some of the crazy car talk you've done with. I don't think I've ever chair flown with a passenger in the car. I know I went through this stuff. I did it more in radar, practicing coordination.
Yeah.
You know, we talk about the push to think button. You know, when you push that landline and you're in their speaker, you better not sound like a ding dong.
You better know what you're going to say it fast, and get off the line.
Sound like you totally know what you're talking about, even though you have no idea what to say.
Yeah. Even if you don't know what it means, just say the words.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on this one?
Yeah. I mean, we did rock drills. We called them rock drills, where it was a walkthrough, geographic, you know, like a big sand table you see in the movies.
Mm-hmm.
Here's the mountain, here's the village, here's the thing. And we're actually walking around in chalk order, making the radio calls, doing all of this. You're visualizing, you know, sort of situational awareness. Where are people? Where are the Apache guys when we're here? Where is the ground force going to be in relation to this village, to this terrain? You know, how is all of that going to look? And one of the things that just completely blew my mind was, I won't say who they were, a very high level operations, ground operations team of people.
Okay.
Very well known, very famous.
Okay.
Okay. They're going through their portion, the ground portion of their operation. We're sitting there because, you know, it all is flowing. So they're going through the brief. It's incredibly detailed, unbelievably detailed. I can't, like, the amount of detail is just absolutely crazy. So there are ground vehicles also involved in this. And they go through this brief. And at the end, a guy raises his hand. He says, hey, when I come out of building 321, and there's 4 of those Razor vehicles, you know, they're going to be pulling up on this road. Is number 2 going to be to my right or to my left when I walk out of that door? That is the level of rehearsal and understanding that everybody on that team has for how this is supposed to go, right? It's unbelievable. And it's the same with these guys, the Blue Angels, the Thunderbirds. and what they're doing is so much more complex. But that doesn't mean, like RH said, that it isn't important for you on a GA flight in a Skyhawk going cross country to go through this stuff.
You're basically doing the flight. You know, you might be saying you're doing it twice. I'd argue doing it chair flying, you're almost doing it 2 or 3 times worth of the mental capacity because you don't have all the cues from the external sources to say what to do next. Mm-hmm. You're anticipating and planning it ahead of time. There's experience involved there. You've done it before, but you do have to spend a little more, I think, mental energy to work through that by yourself. So keep doing it.
Yeah.
I promise the controllers that have heard pilots like you prepared can tell a difference between the one who was like, all right, where are we again? Okay, what am I doing? All right, I got my clearance. Now what do I do? Well, you got to move. You know, guess what the tower controller is going to tell you? He's going to give you a heading or a departure, and then he's going to send you here. You've done all that. Now it's just anticipating. I know what's next.
That is such a big part of it. Knowing what's next. Mm-hmm. Try to get to that point.
Excellent feedback. Thank you. Keep practicing with your passengers. Maybe record one of those briefs and send it to us. We'd like that audio.
Fun. That would be a lot of fun.
I think you get number 2.
Number 2 from Supercaster Kilo Sierra. Hi, AG and RH. I want to send a quick thank you for everything you do with opposing bases. Thank you. Thanks to the guidance, discussions, and encouragement from the show, I was able to plan and fly a family trip to Connecticut that included the New York Skyline route. Awesome. Before finding the podcast, flying through some of the busiest airspace in the country felt intimidating and honestly wasn't something I would have seriously considered. Using what I've learned from the show, I was able to fly IFR to an airport near the Verrazano Bridge, cancel my IFR flight plan, pick up flight following, transition the Bravo via the Skyline route, and then pick up IFR again north of the city. Wow. That's a pretty complex. Mm-hmm. Yeah. The entire operation went smoothly, and I felt prepared for each step instead of overwhelmed by the complexity. Awesome. The experience was an incredible highlight of the trip. Sharing the New York skyline with my family from the air is something we'll never forget. I truly don't think I would have attempted, planned, or executed that flight without the confidence and understanding I've gained from listening to opposing bases. Your ability to explain ATC procedures, airspace, and pilot controller communication in a practical, approachable way makes a real difference. Thank you for helping make one of the most memorable flights of my flying career possible. Keep up the great work, and thanks for all you do for the aviation community. Blue skies, Kilo Sierra. That's awesome. That's so cool.
Great story.
That's why we're doing this show. That's super cool.
Just take little nuggets. Say we say 10 things on a show. 9 of them are probably, these guys are crazy.
Super dumb. Yeah.
Well, we promise at least one out of 10.
Yeah.
Can be something you could pull into your flying or your controlling and think about something in a different way and make you better. So,
yep.
We're here educating and entertaining. That's what we do.
I think it was on the last show we talked about how some people's writing style doesn't work with my brain. Mm-hmm. Or a couple shows ago, maybe. Right?
Uh-huh.
Kilo Sierra's writing style,
That's great.
It flows very well. It works. It's compatible with my brain.
I love it. I agree. You sounded great.
Everybody's feedback to Kilo Sierra, and he's going to rewrite it so that I can read it.
Hey, this is a good point to say that. We have a couple minutes. I won't drag on about this. Some of the feedbacks that maybe sit for a minute longer, they're a little bit long, and I don't want to cut it down too much, but I also want it to give the audience as much from that feedback as we can. And we don't take out a ton of people's feedback unless we specifically say, hey, this got cut down for time so everybody realizes, we took out some of the parts. But this type of feedback was perfect. It was perfect length. You told your story. You said your thing. And if you think you have to tell a really long story, AG and I have seen a few stories before. We give us the highlights and we'll piece it together. It doesn't have to be perfect. You're not writing a screenplay.
Right.
We'll get there.
Yes. This is so cool though, and I am honored to be a part of it. To play some little part in this sort of thing happening.
Yeah. And you got an awesome experience. Send us some pictures. Share. I know you took some, or someone in the plane did.
Somebody took pictures.
But and for those of you who don't know, we talked about this a few times on the show. The Skyline route is super intimidating. You have to talk to New York controllers who are got this. They have an opposite reputation of what they actually are when you get up there. Mm-hmm. The ones that you talk to do this, so don't be scared of them. Don't be afraid to. He said a lot in one sentence. I got IFR, dropped it, picked up flight following, picked up an IFR again on the other side of the city. There's a lot going on there. You put that in one sentence though. If you went and explained how you did that, it would take a lot longer.
Yeah, right.
So that brevity does not mean what you did isn't an accomplishment.
Yeah.
And if we gave you the confidence to do that, that feels good. I agree with you. Honored to be a part of it.
Yeah. Yay for us.
Great way to end the show.
Okay.
Patting ourselves on the back. All right. We do our best to respond to supporter feedback and let you know when you'll be on an upcoming show. The inbox is under control. I've sent some responses. We're in sort of a weird mode right now. We're doing our best. I think when I said that the last time, it calmed down the new emails. They kind of toned down a little bit, which is a very fine line. I want them to keep coming in, but you guys have metered it perfectly right now. We're in a great spot.
Perfect.
Anything to add before the chat?
I do not.
Closing out episode 447 of Opposing Bases Air Traffic Talk. Romeo Hotel.
And Alpha Golf. Goodbye, everyone.
Drop. Opposing Bases is a listener-supported, ad-free weekly podcast. The views expressed on the show do not reflect the opinions or official positions of the FAA or Penguin Airlines. Episodes are for entertainment purposes only and are not intended to replace flight instruction. To get on-time access, bonus content, and full archive access, join the crew at opposingbases.supercast.com.